That incident involved a nightclub in Kuala Lumpur, Imbi. Jawi and Rela raided the nightclub and arrested everybody inside, all those Muslims who were inside, including the staff who were working there. Now, is it illegal for a Muslim to work in a place that sells liquor? They said yes. Because these people happen to work in this place that sells liquor, they've committed a crime and Jawi arrested them. Okay, but there's two sides, two parts to that story. First of all, is there a law that makes it illegal for a Muslim to work in a place that sells liquor? Or is this the discretion of Jawi, their personal opinion, that a Muslim should not work in a place that sells liquor, and if you do, we're going to arrest you? There must be a law first. Now, if there's a law that prohibits Muslims from working in any establishment that sells liquor, then not a single MAS stewardess or steward must be Muslim. Only non-Muslims should be employed as stewards and stewardesses in MAS, because MAS too serves liquor. What about Pernas? The Pernas chain of hotels, they have bars, discos, pubs, and they sell liquor. It's owned by Malay, the staff are Malay, the board of directors are Malay, the shareholders are Malay. But there's no law that prohibits all these Malays from being involved in any business that sells liquor. So there appears to be no law that prohibits Muslims from working in a place that sells liquor. So how were these people arrested in this nightclub? Is it because this one is owned by Chinese and the rest are owned by Malays, so they do not raid those Malay-owned establishments selling liquor like MAS, Pernas hotels and what have you? But since this is Chinese, so we have a right. Is it the owner rather than the staff? That's the issue here. So was this a legal or illegal detention? Then they took away these staff and they put them on these police lorries. And one of the staff needed to answer the call of nature. She couldn't hold her bladder. She needed very badly to answer the call of nature. They wouldn't let her off the truck. She says, I need to go to the toilet very badly. She says, well, then just do it on the truck. So she had no choice. She couldn't hold her bladder any longer. So her friends put a scarf in front of her to block her from view. And she took off her clothes and she urinated there on the truck, which was crowded with so many other people. As she was doing that, one of the Rela officers came up to the truck and pulled away the scarf and started taking photographs of her naked. They took her to the police station. Then they said, let's make a deal. If you grant us sexual favors, we will release you and let you go home. And she refused. They said, okay, in that case, we're going to detain you. And we'll have to fingerprint you and photograph you. And they made her do all sorts of erotic poses while they took photographs. I mean, yeah, sure, when a person's going to be locked up, you photograph them. But the normal way of photographing is standing in front or at the side with a number in front of you. You are not asked to participate in, very sexual and erotic poses. So they made her do that. Anyhow, after she was released, she sued the government. She sued the officers, she sued Rela, and she sued Jawi. Now, the court ruled that Jawi and Rela are not guilty, but the officer is. And the officer was made to pay 200,000. So she won. The judgment was 200,000 damages. But the officer doesn't have money. He couldn't even pay 2,000, let alone 200,000. And how come the officer was found guilty, but Rela, which is his employer, and Jawi, who had instructed him to detain all these people, how come they were not also liable for this? And they got off. So I wrote about it. That they raided this nightclub and they detained all those Muslims, even though in the first place we dispute the legality of detaining them. They detained all these Muslims in the name of Islam. Because these people are Muslims who are working in a place selling liquor, which is wrong according to Islam. So in the name of Islam, they are detained. But aren't you making a mockery of Islam when you get them to strip and you photograph them naked and you ask for sexual favors if they want to be released, and you make them do all sorts of erotic and sexual poses and take their photographs? Is that Islamic? So I commented on this, and I said that the people who are giving Islam a bad name are the Muslims. In fact, it is not the kafir. It is not the non-Muslims. It is the Muslims who are the biggest enemy of Islam. And that was considered insulting Islam, and they detained me. And I said very clear, I'm not insulting Islam, but I am certainly insulting Muslims. But I'm insulting Muslims who give Islam a bad name, and who give Islam a bad name using the name of Islam in doing so. So people who look at it, non-Muslims who look at it and said he asked the girl to strip, he arrested the girl, he did this, he did that. He said he did it in the name of Islam. Which means Islam has asked him to do all this. Now that is the biggest disservice any Muslim can do to Islam. And therefore, these are the real enemies of Islam. Forget about the Jews, forget about the Christians. These are not the enemies. Muslims are the enemies. And they said that this tantamount to insulting Islam. And they detained me and under ISA for that.